First and foremost, just like to thank everybody for coming out today. 4 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. Take some effort. So, thank you. On the first floor of Carswell Hall, just before the Annenberg Auditorium, there's a quote that goes sporadically noticed and seldom explored by the average student rushing to class. It is credited to Wake alumnus Ed Wilson, and it reads, "Long before we played football, edited publications, acted, or sang, in fact, almost before we studied, we of Wake Forest talked." And talk we have. Since the university's founding, Wake has had seniors prepare and deliver orations on topics of import, from Henry Foote's 1868 address on the American Republic to Amy Gardine's 2012 address, "Don't Give Me an Education." However, what I always found most intriguing about that quote from our Provost Emeritus was his use of the pronoun we. To be clear, I'm not one of those nitpicky grammatical types. I've turned in papers full of comma splices, and I've gotten some of my best sleep in the back of high school English classes. But that quote, that evocation of the we, it always left me wondering, who is we? No, not who are we? Who is we? To pose the question of who are we suggests there is a singular, normative, Wake Forest self or experience from which to begin introspection. Today, I'd like to deconstruct that. See, Ed Wilson graduated in 1943. That's almost 20 years before the first student who looked even remotely like me ever set foot on campus. Only one out of the previous 12 speakers at Convocation for the past 4 years has been an African American, and none of them were African American women. So, who is we? I've thoroughly enjoyed my experience at Wake Forest, and given a magical restart button, I'd do it all over again. However, my Wake Forest is not your Wake Forest. I walk past the same majestic chapel, wait the same long lines of subway, take some of the same classes, and in May, thank God, I'll be crossing the same stage. But I can guarantee you that my Wake Forest is not yours. We occupy this geo-social space together, but in different ways. This difference exists because our experiences are different. Our experiences are different because we're all different people. However, there's beauty in that difference, and inspiration can be found at the junctions where we all consider ourselves beings. Just as intersecting lines simultaneously converge and depart, so do we. We start at different places, end up elsewhere, but somehow, some way, we all meet right here. However, we cannot afford to leave the divergences within these intersections unexplored, because celebrating this institution without a holistic understanding of the community that it embodies will be to do Founders Day a great disservice. See, when I think about Wake, I'm constantly reminded of this year's homecoming. It's a time where we're supposed to all come together and celebrate the university. Excitement engulfed the campus as alumni returned. Student Union put out an elaborate week-long flyer. It seemed like there was always something to do. Student groups began hosting events around the clock, and I didn't go to a single one of them. With the exception of the President's Ball and the football game, none of the events that I attended were displayed on university marquees. They didn't take place in spaces rented out by age-old organizations with well-fed treasuries, and statistically speaking, the biggest racial demographic at Wake was largely absent. I didn't see many of y'all there either. However, when my friends and family asked, I explained that we celebrated this year's homecoming with a series of events I personally and affectionately call Black Homecoming. Thursday, there's a party hosted by the Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha, one of only 3 historically Black fraternities on campus. Friday, there's a cookout at the National Panhandling Garden, known as The Plots, and That night, there was the President's Ball. Saturday, there was the annual tailgate hosted by the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and another party following the game hosted by my own fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. The racial makeup of these events was drastically different from the predominantly white classes I sit in Monday through Friday. The irony of this being homecoming and us all coming together is that I can all but guarantee the average white student walking across the quad had little to no clue about the festivities that I found to be so wondrous. It is a manifestation of Wake's multiplicity of communities. Now, the visceral reaction of some may be to think, well, hey, everybody should just do all the same things and together. But to be frank, statements like these make me cringe because they cut directly against what has made my time at Wake as great as it has been. That logic is what initially made me feel perpetually out of place in Deacon country. You see, I think difference is something to be valued. That recognizing it is a starting point for understanding and appreciation, not mere tolerance and acceptance. To suggest that there is a universal we who must do all things together and in unison inevitably means that certain groups are forced into a mold that may not fit them. My freshman year, for example, I felt as though I was being constantly, explicitly or implicitly told, adapt, try new things, be more like us, dress like us, dance like us, listen to our music. Ironically, for my past 21 years, to be black in America has been to be constantly changing and adapting. Code switching, changing, seem less angry, seem less dangerous, seem less stupid, seem more articulate, seem like you know more about AC/DC than Young G. As comical as it may seem, this is a burden I always felt my white classmates didn't have to bear. Yes, it's college, and many students struggle to feel comfortable in their new environment, but there's a distinction between feeling different because of who you are and being marked as an outsider because of the color of your skin. Now, I'm neither closed-minded nor hateful, but I am a rational human being. No rational human being willingly eats at a restaurant that doesn't serve the food they like. They don't listen to music they don't enjoy, and they don't watch comedies that don't make them laugh. My point here is not that difference is universal or impermeable, but rather that we would be fools to pretend that it doesn't exist. Acting on that understanding means the strong presence of diverse options. Herein lies why meanings of the we in discussions of Wake Forest are so important. How can an effective discussion about population be had if the speakers never stop to understand the nuances included within it? Or for that matter, the people who were always already counted out. A great man and an institution at this university, Dr. Alan Loudon once said, "The fabric of Wake Forest is the collection of many communities. As neighborhoods compose a city, the very quarters complement the whole." My neighborhood is too small for me to have made it to where I am today, devoid of contact with my fellow residents of Deaconville. From enthralling late-night conversations in freshman dorms, to heated debates in divisional classes, to awkward introductions on Friday nights, and hour-long pit sits on Saturday mornings, I've had the pleasure of getting to know this city pretty well. But hear me with the understanding that where I work is not where I live. I've never felt that many things here operate with students like me in mind. So as I reflect on my time at this dear old Wake Forest, I grow increasingly appreciative of the places that went out of their way to feel like home. For without them, I wouldn't be here. I would not be here if it weren't for the Office of Multicultural Affairs, people like Mr. Arlene incessantly checking up on me. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Black Freedom, a tight-knit family of friends. I would not be here if it weren't for the cozy office of Tom Phillips, where failure after failure I learned that college is about more than just a GPA. I would not be here if it weren't for Director of Debate Jared Atchison and the program as a whole, constantly expressing confidence in me for 3 years when I've done little to deserve it. These are what define my Wake Forest, and I'm sure different things define yours. But the whole point of this endeavor is to demonstrate that there's beauty in that difference and in those distinctions. Ultimately, I think Ed Wilson's we is the collection of neighborhoods that Dr. Loudon describes. But you see, it's easy to think that your neighborhood is the entirety of the city if you never leave your block. that week means many different things to many different people. So as Wake Forest grows and classrooms diversify, the only way this university will continue to stay great is if those groups that have historically occupied its center attend to those at its periphery. To me, that means supporting institutions designed specifically for those students. After all, our motto is not pro-stagnants, pro-legacies, pro-Greeks, pro-powerful, pro-wealthy, pro-white, or pro-man. It is pro-humanitate. And that means nothing if not unconditional